question I have is, as a longtime anime fan, it just seems like the quality of anime is going. Like I talk to a lot of older fans, and they agree that there's just not much. Like I haven't really watched anything new in a long time. It just seems like the quality is going down.
In what respect?
I guess the focus on things like moe, the lack of older genres like mecha and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like that, the old fans like for us standbys just aren't there anymore.
Actually, you need to show what you just picked as a prize. He has the very naked figure that I have. I can't keep those around the house anymore. My kids are getting too old and they start realizing what that is. Actually, I was on a panel last night, the experts fan controversy, and that was one of the questions. And my answer to that was nothing good has been made since 1985. But it depends on where you come from, because I came into this in the 80s and got into Macross, Robotech, and all the stuff from that. And I got into anime because it was good science fiction. We weren't getting it here on Hollywood, and certainly not in our cartoons. And it's changed a lot over the years. That audience has gone away. The people that grew up on it in Japan aren't into it anymore. They're into different things. I watch more now than I have ever before. And especially where we get all the simulcasts now. I'm watching 21 series this season alone. And I hear that argument a lot, but I keep finding there's always something really good to watch. Like this season, Steins Gate. It's not science fiction like we grew up with in the 80s and 90s and how they did it, but it's really interesting time travel kind of stuff that comes up. There's always something out there. But the moe stuff can drive you bonkers. There's some really bad stuff. I'm suffering through that We Without Wings, and it's pure fan service, nothing but that.
Fan service is awesome though.
Sometimes, yeah, but sometimes they just go too far. This one was just horrible because it had this one scene where they were trying to talk down to this waitress in the restaurant that they all work in. So what do? They flip her skirt and pull her panties down. And I'm like, why? That had absolutely nothing to do with anything. This just shows just one of the few series I'm giving Fs to in every episode. And that just rarely happens. But I mean, stuff changes. It's harder to search out if you're looking for just one type of show. And you're not going to find as much, but when I got into this in the 90s, I really started branching out when I had all the science fiction, but then I got Urusei and Sura, I got Orange Road, and Takahashi stuff, and it got me a lot of other things. It's not to say, don't be provincial in what you're looking at, but it is good to try other things to see what else you might like. But the moe stuff can be really hard to deal with. Right in a row,
Yeah, I ask this question at panels all the time. I'd really like to see, anime on TV that's broadcasting the Japanese over the second audio program channel. And I'm not seeing that, and, I occasionally ask the question, well, are there technical barriers, or what's preventing that from happening? Because it seems like it's a fairly trivial thing, because they must have the broadcasting equipment.
Mm-hmm. No, it's easy to do because they do it with the Spanish most of the time and everything else. The problem is that nobody cares.
Yeah.
The audience for it is not there. Because even if you say everybody here would be interested in it, they wouldn't. Especially with the generation coming into it now, they're far more interested in just sitting down on their phone. So they're going to sit on the iPad, their netbook, and they'll have everything right there whenever they want it. The linear model is changing. It's always going to be there, but anime is not going to be part of it anymore in that degree. And we need more just dub stuff out there to get more people into it than anything else. But there's no real technical issue with it, but nobody's broadcasting anime anyway. So if we can't even get stuff dubbed on there that's very accessible, doing the other side of it, it's just not going to happen because there's no need for it. I'd love to see that happen with Pokemon. That's the one show I wish they would do it with, so we can actually see what the show is originally like.
Yeah.
But beyond that, it's just not that much.
Okay.
Let's see.
So one of the things I really enjoyed for a long time was the creative packaging in our costs. That seems to have gone.
Mm-hmm.
Is it gone forever? Blu-ray is now coming in these little tiny packages, and I imagine that's far more economical than presentation.
Yeah, that's changing again. Funimation's pushing back on that now. They've got some releases that started out this year by they did a lot of polling last year, and a lot of people said, we're actually buying the shows. If you're only making 2,000 copies, which is what a good selling show is now, They're like, we're putting the money down, give us something worth our money. There was a drive to the bottom in pricing because they were all competing for shelf space at Best Buy and wherever else they could get. So now Best Buy is like, screw that, we don't want to carry, they don't want a DVD or Blu-ray at all anymore, it's all loss leader. Anime's dead in the market there. So now they're almost really just selling directly online to the fans, conventions, and so forth. And the Funimation is, the only reason I talk about them more is because they're really defining what's going on at the moment. They have the combo sets that are coming out. We just got the Guy Ray Zero out this month, and it has both discs in it in standard DVD packaging, a nice hard box, and they're sets like that, they're doing things in them. They've had one that came out earlier this year, had a nice book in it, but they're doing the hard chipboard boxes again. They're charging $5 more, but after it's sold out, it's actually limited, it's gone. Then they're just going back to the thin cases. So they're making an incentive to say, here, we're putting out something quality, we're putting out something you were asking for not that much more really. You know, go and get it. And from what I'm hearing, it's doing pretty well. Stuff is selling out at the wholesale level pretty quickly. So it's really a thing of support it and you get more of it. And if other companies see them doing it, you know, Sentai will say, well, why don't we try it for 1 or 2 titles and see what happens.
And NIS's work has been
NIS, yeah, I forgot about them. Their stuff, they get a lot of grief because they're sub-only, but their boxes are amazing. I feel like, you know, you're getting these big hardcover books, it's just gorgeous.
Yeah,
I can't help but drool over those things. There's actually some good stuff. There's most of the Holic.
Isn't it saddening that 4 kids filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy? I mean, they made the best stuff ever.
I cried that day. I cried hard. There were such tears of joy. It was the best day. You know, I feel bad for certain aspects of it because there's business realities of it. And, you know, Yu-Gi-Oh! Did get a whole lot of people into anime. But I was dancing on that grave.
I think you like
Let's see.
Is that a bad question or good?
No, I'll let you have that one. Unless you need some porn.
Might as well.
All right.
I'll pick this up.
Yeah, Night Shift Nurse is gone. All right, so it's out now.
What's going on with Bandai?
They're plugging away. They're doing what they've been doing. Their schedule's a little slower than other people, but they keep licensing stuff. They have a very specific approach. They're not trying to dominate the market. They're really playing it very close at the moment to try and weather it, I think, more than anything else. And they have the different issue of being part of a bigger company, so they're kind of limited in what they can do.
That's still around though. They just re-released Melancholy Power User to me and a more cheaper and affordable box set.
Yeah, we just had the first KR and Blu-ray come in. So
Yeah, but then again, it's really low number of episodes, and it's not the same
Yeah.
approach as all the other studios.
It's a licensing issue, you know, and they're more closely tied to it as well. So, especially with that one, because going through the credits, the production was by I forget the Japanese company. I think it was TBS or one of them, but the English production was by them, with Bandai just doing the work. So it was almost a Japanese release in a way. So that's part of the thing. Sometimes we're going to get stuff like that, especially with the Blu-ray without the region coding issue.
Okay.
The black.
Have you seen or do you foresee any problems with the whole earthquake and everything in Japan with the studios releasing stuff like manga and anime? Do you think it's going to delay or even stop production of certain titles or releases?
The only thing there was a lot of issues with. The main thing that we saw impacting over here. I want to know what you like. Ooh, Nana.
Good choice.
Awesome. Was that with the simulcast? That was the biggest impact, and some of the licensing or acquisition for deals over here slowed down because they were in chaos, and the news was dominated on TV, so things got pushed back. I haven't heard of any real issues with getting materials out because there's such a big window for a lot of things, and half the time when you license a title, they'll tell you, all right, you've got it licensed, you know, and then you don't hear from them for a few months anyway about when you're going to actually get materials. So you're just kind of waiting anyway. There's so much stuff in the pipeline that most of these companies do have, especially Funimation. They've got so much they're sitting on that they're making schedule plans of what's coming out in the beginning of 2012 and announcing it in a way. So it's not going to have that big of an impact. If anything, it'll work out because then there'll be a lull for someone like them. Then they get a bunch of materials and they can get through it a lot quicker. So it was only the simulcast that really got affected by it, and that was more just dealing with their TV schedule that got adjusted. You know, we had Magical Madoka got pushed back by what, a month for the last couple of episodes. So things like that impact here to some degree, but not as much. Let's see. Yep. Yep. Oh, I'll get you this.
My question is, I've been hearing about so many over the last 2 years, so many companies closing up. I was wondering, I didn't have an idea about what the current situation is.
They're all struggling to some degree. Funimation bought themselves out, so they're back on their own. Tokyo Pop just went under, but they have a lot of issues outside of things just because of the way they were managed, which was poorly. And they were heavily tied to bookstores, and that's going through chaos. So, and the manga publishing in particular is a little worse off because they're even more restricted. The anime companies are at least saying, all right, let's do some digital stuff, let's get you out there. The manga stuff, they're fighting tooth and nail to actually do digital versions of things and coming up with a way of making money off of it. You know, it's at the lowest it's been since the 90s. You know, we had that fan controversy panel last night, and they're saying it again. A good selling title is now 2,000 copies. You know, 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, a good selling title was, you know, 10 to 20,000 copies. And you had things that were selling more than that were really low and seemed popular. So, you know, it's a mess in its own way. There's still a bunch of them around, but they're trying to figure out where to go next. That's going to take a couple years to work out, to get those licenses back on track, because whatever deals they have to go through, because they're closing in their publishing business, but they're still existing in Germany and dealing with licensing and acquisitions for things in Europe and everything, so they may keep some of it for that, and there's also going to be the stigma of some of these titles where other publishers don't want to pick them up. We saw some CMX titles get picked up. I had friends that worked at CMX that went to work for Tokyo Pop. So they had a double whammy in the space of a year, losing 2 publishing jobs. Some of these titles just are never going to come back out, but for a lot of those Tokyo Pop titles, they're only doing 1 or 2 a year at best, or 1 a year at best in some cases. So it's unfortunate, but I just don't see a lot of them. And they didn't have a lot of big name ones. Some of the older ones, like Fruits Basket, somebody's going to go after that.
I mean, Dark Horse has released some clamp titles that I believe were originally licensed by Tokyo Pop.
Yeah.
Like Showbiz, Magic Knight Rayearth, and Card Captor Sakura, and these big omnibus.
Yeah, and you're going to see stuff like, you know, the Japanese publishers getting a little more involved too, like we have Kodansha now getting seriously involved. So we might see more of that. That might be the only way some of these get rescued over time. Yeah. In the blue.
This is probably a stupid question, but I'm new, and I was just wondering what the title that you're most excited about this past year and this coming year is.
That's the hardest question I get.
Always looking for recommendations, and I read everything.
Because I watch, you know, like I said, 21 series a month, plus all the DVD stuff and everything. So, I mean, I'm writing about 180 to 200 reviews a month. Once I watch a title, it's out of my head, unfortunately. The one that I've been most excited about this year so far is the Eden of the East.
I've heard that.
That was good.
I saw the TV series when that came out. I think it was at the end of last year, or maybe in the beginning of this year. And I've got the new movie to watch, to check out, but that's been one of the things I've been really excited about. I really enjoyed Guin Saga. It's a fantasy one that Sentai put out, because there's not that much fantasy shows out there. It's a nice political mix. But yeah, once I see something and write about it, I'm on to the next thing, unfortunately. There's a lack of retention that's come after doing this for so long.